They are made of stone, bamboo, aluminum, or transparent glass. They are atypical, confusing, and sometimes even overwhelming. Make yourself comfortable and discover 12 houses that border on the ridiculous. Never underestimate the intelligence of a heavy beer drinker. He may surprise you. The proof is in this one-story house, which is nestled in Houston, Texas. The beer can house is made entirely from beer cans, thousands of them to be exact. The lawn is covered with cement with pieces of wood, logs, and metal mixed together to create original patterns. The house is the work of retired upholsterer John Milkovich, who started this crazy project in 1968 after years of swallowing beer cans. Milkovich started the project for a practical reason. He was tired of mowing the lawn. So, he decided to cover it with concrete and incorporate small objects to decorate it. It might as well be pretty. Once the lawn was covered, Milkovich built fences, sculptures, windmills, and curtains just from the cans. By the time he died, John had spent a total of 18 years covering his house, fence, and even his tree with some 39,000 cans of beer. Today, it is possible to visit the house as it has become an art exhibit in the city. There are more than just bad things in a good beer can. We now fly to Tokyo, where the Reversible Destiny Lofts are located, atypical houses that confuse by their singular design. The Reversible Destiny Lofts were designed by Madeline Jins and Shusaku Arakawa, two internationally renowned Japanese architects. These obstacle houses, which seem to come straight out of a children's cartoon, innovate not only by their exterior appearance but also by their interior design. For example, to access the verandas through the small doors, one has to stoop or even crawl. The very narrow interior passages force the inhabitants to bend over and do gymnastics. These multicolored constructions with heterogeneous forms rethink architecture in all its forms because they do not combine any sense of space or balance, which are the fundamental principles of housing design. These exceptional buildings attract waves of visitors every day. In addition, some are available for residential or short-term rentals. But be warned, you will not be safe from stiff neck and joint problems. Relatively inconvenient, even inconvenient to a certain extent, these lofts with their unusual designs tend to confuse their visitors, in the true sense of the word. This strange family villa located in Hillsborough, California in the United States is nicknamed by tourists the Flintstones House, in homage to the famous cartoon of Hanna-Barbera. Built by the architect William Nicholson in 1976, the house was put up for sale for the amazing price of $4.8 million and was finally sold for $2.8 million. This 250 square meters residence has round shapes and opens onto a plot of more than 8,000 square meters. Perched on top of a hill, the villa overlooks the artificial lake of Crystal Springs. While it explicitly evokes the stylized Stone Age of cartoon with its orange and purple facade, the interior offers great luxury and modern comfort. With 8 rooms and a garage with egg-shaped windows, the house has everything to please. There is no proof that it was really inspired by the cartoon of the 1960s, but the nickname given to it will obviously always stick to the walls. Does living in a 1 square meter house seem impossible to you? Well, it is not for Van Bola Menzel. This young architectural prodigy based in Berlin, Germany, has built the smallest house in the world, with a surface area of 1 square meter. Called the House of 1 Square Meter, this house is entirely made of wood. Even though it measures only 1 small square meter, its layout makes it possible to sleep in it while being at ease. La Menzel thought of this small house thanks to its past. Indeed, the former nomadic architect spent a large part of his life as a refugee. He moved around a lot and depended on social subsidies and social housing. He then decided to build a house that was sufficient to shelter him and at the same time allowed him to move around, hence the originality of his design. Moreover, it had to be designed with accessible materials. Van Bo states that this house is the only square meter in the world where he can decide as he pleases in which direction to point his window and in which direction the door will open. It is clear that it is not a great luxury, but after all, isn't it said that it is better to have a roof of our own than to live in other people's homes? Designed by the architect Su Fujimoto, this house has a white metal structure and some raw concrete panels that serve as a support for glass boxes. Rather than opting for large rooms, the architect chose rather restricted living areas, 21 in total, spread over 4 levels and 81 square meters. On the other hand, the plumbing system, electricity, and air conditioning are hidden and are all grouped together at the back of the house, on the north side. As for the toilets, they are located in the center of the house so that they are not too visible from the outside. After all, during the night a shutter system allows to hide and bring the necessary darkness for a good sleep and intimacy. Thus, the life of the residents in these transparent cubes can be seen from the outside from sunrise to sunset. So, if you like to walk around naked in your home in the summer, this house is definitely not for you. Here is another version of the Flintstones house. This sumptuous and unusual villa, called Flintstone, is located in Malibu. As you can see, it has the particularity of being entirely designed on the Flintstone house model. The house has one bedroom and two bathrooms, a fireplace, and most importantly, it has several large bay windows offering a magnificent view of the city lights and sunsets. The entire interior of the villa has been specially designed to measure. The Flintstones texture pattern has been applied to every element without exception. Thus, we can find faucets, tables, chairs, drawers inspired by the Stone Age but paradoxically very modern. The entire property covers more than 22 hectares and is still waiting for an owner, for the sum of $3.5 million. So, if you have a well-filled bank account and you like a good barbecue in front of a sumptuous sunset, you know what you have to do. Direction Abidjan now, the former capital of the Ivory Coast, where the genial Thierry Atta lives. This man made the choice to live in the belly of a crocodile, a fake of course. Although he is a fake, his appearance is nevertheless truer than life. Located in the middle of Abidjan, the house of the architect has the shape of a massive and grotesque crocodile, completely emptied from the inside, to create a living space that is a minimum of comfort. Completed in 2008, the crocodile is the work of the artist Moussa Kalo, who unfortunately died only 2 months before its completion. As Kalo's apprentice, Atta decided to move into the structure that the men had created, and has since made the crocodile his home. With windows and a bed, the strange concrete house is habitable. Far be it from me to want to be a bad talker, I wonder how he manages to get to sleep. Do you know the proverb that says a homeless man's home is where the heart is? It seems that Lu Lingqiao is the perfect embodiment of it. This Chinese man has taken on the crazy challenge of walking more than 430 kilometers with his house on his back. Wherever he goes, this 30-something never travels without his house of about 60 kilos on his shoulders. We reassure you, it is mainly made of plastic, bamboo, and sheets. This idea came to him when he lost his job and was evicted from his home. Lu then decided to walk to his hometown in Guangxi from Shenzhen, where he worked all over the road. Every day, Lu carries his house for a distance of 20 kilometers. Measuring 1.50 meters wide and 2.20 meters high, this dwelling offers this nomad the needs necessary for his survival, a place to rest and a few shelves to store his food and personal belongings. He built this house in order to save money during his travels while remaining protected from the cold and rain. This kind of shell on a human scale allows the Chinese to rest when and where he wants, and above all to feel free. The disadvantage is that it does not offer him great comfort, but the advantage is that he does not have to pay water or electricity bills and will never need to call a plumber. Dai Haifei, a 24-year-old Chinese boy from Hunan province, chose to build and place his small egg-shaped house in a courtyard in Beijing. Inspired by the design of the company where he worked, Dai spent only 6,427 yuan or 822 euros on it. Its unique shape and outer wall were constructed from bamboo, and small bags of natural material filled with sawdust and grass, which provides good insulation. Dai didn't want to live in a remote part of the city, pay rent, or even spend several hours a day in a crowded bus. But faced with the reality of high house prices, Dai Haifei had the idea to build one for himself, with the means at hand. Finally, when we talk about the means of the trade, it took not at all an amount of 822 euros between the wheels, ropes, grinders, water tanks and pumps, steel, fabric, paint, insulation, plexiglass, and the ventilation system. The shipment of the built house from Hunan to Beijing cost 3,500 yuan. The Chinese architecture student points out that a solar panel has been installed on the roof of his egg house, which provides him with electricity. You must do the job properly. No, this picture is not upside down. You don't have to wring your neck to see it since this house was built that way. It has its head anchored to the ground. Built on the island of Usedom, in the town of Trassenheide, Germany, this unusual house was born from the crazy idea of two Polish workers Klaudiusz Golos and Sebastian Makiek. According to them, their project does not respond to any particular reason. They just wanted to do something different. It was built like a classic house, except for one detail: here everything is upside down. As you can guess, in this house, it is difficult to sit down to have lunch. The chairs and tables are glued to the floor, the ceiling, so you would have to be upside down, not very practical for dinner. And to test the floor, you have to do a headstand. Like all houses, this one has a bathroom, but it is not very useful, fortunately. Boo! A bit of terror to finish. We leave for Delme, in France, where the Gueux Ho Saint House with its sumptuous white facade is located. This atypical building has something organic about it and seems to be in constant motion because of its wavy shapes. This house is the work of a French artist couple composed of Christophe Bertheguer and Marie Pegis, who prefer to talk about a sculpture rather than a construction. The Gueux Ho Saint House, recalling the play on words between guest and host, guest and host, is originally a public commission from the Commune of Delme, in partnership with the Ministry of Culture, the Moselle Department and the Lorraine region. The two architects, therefore, chose to dress in polystyrene and resin an old building next to the Synagogue of Delme, which over the years was used as a school, a prison, and even a funeral chamber. This parade of uses and memories, of guests and hosts, so different, over time, in these places steeped in history, has brought out in the artists this concept of ghost house to which the public seems to have immediately adhered. Bertheguer and Pegis projected on the walls of the Gueux Ho Saint House the immaculate whiteness of the interior of the synagogue. One is very geometric and symmetrical, while the other appears elusive and animated. So, what do you think of these 12 unusual houses? Could you live in one of them? Tell us what you think in the comments.